What's up, guys? You guys left me with a ton to talk about. I didn't get to respond to any of it because of my 5K video that I solely wanted to do just that. So I still have things mentioned from last week that I still haven't even answered. Like, I made a full list. Like, this list goes on for days. But I will be addressing these... Whoa, I almost knocked that over. I will be addressing these things in due time. I don't want to cram them all in one video just because I don't want it to be all over the place, and I think I can elaborate on some of these things for a full video. Colin, you brought up my game capture card. That's this thing right here. I would let you use it, but unfortunately, it uses the analog inputs, the composite and component. It does not take HDMI, so it will not work for your PS4. Sorry. And for some reason, it didn't work for my Wii U either, even though it can use the composite inputs. I don't know why it didn't work, which is why the Mario Maker video looked a little weird. It didn't look like it was direct footage of the game. It was because I recorded my gamepad. The more you know. Okay, so let's get into the topic at hand. In both of the previous videos that you guys did, you guys talked about Life is Strange. And I'm going to continue that trend, and we're going to do maybe like a week of Life is Strange. But since both of you guys talked about the game itself and the gameplay and whatnot, I'm kind of just going to expand off of what Jake was saying about fate and the choices that we make and etc., going into the philosophy category. So what this game boils down to is basically it being a game about morals. What you think is morally right and what you think is morally wrong, and basing your decisions off of these things, which is a form of philosophy, more so ethics. Now, when I was taking classes for college, I did take an intro to philosophy, an intro to ethics, and an intro to logic, so I do know a tiny bit about what I'm talking about. So I went back through my old notes, something that I never thought I would do, and I found this thing from my ethics class, which is a list of moral rules. These are moral rules that everybody follows for every decision that they make when they have to weigh two consequences or more and just trying to figure out what is the best option. So I'm going to share these rules with you guys, and then we'll kind of apply them to Life is Strange or any other scenario that I can come up with. Rule number 1, the principle of honesty. We should not deceive other people, whether it be by lying, telling half-truths, withholding information needed to make a good decision, conveying false impressions, or etc. We should always tell the truth. Number 2, the principle of harm. We should not do things to cause people physical or emotional pain or damage their projects, efforts, or property, health, or reputations. We should not make the lives of others worse or put them in danger of being harmed. So basically, you shouldn't make people worse off than they are. Number 3, the principle of beneficence. We should prevent serious harm from happening to others. When doing so, will not seriously interfere with our own life plans. We should improve the lot of others and contribute to their well-being by helping them further their important interests while doing so will not seriously interfere with our own life goals. Number 4, the principle of fairness. We should treat someone the same way we would treat others in similar circumstances. We should treat everyone by the same standards unless there is a good moral reason for treating them differently. Number 5, the principle of loyalty. We should fulfill our commitments and keep our promises and agreements. We should be loyal to our friends and families, our authorities, those over us, and our subordinates, those under us. We should fulfill our duties of our jobs and roles. Number 6, the principle of autonomy. We should allow others personal freedom to act in informed, voluntary ways to make decisions without deception or coercion. Coercion? I don't know if that's the right word. People should be allowed to make their own choices about how they run their lives. Number 7, the principle of confidentiality. We should allow people the right to control what others know about them. Some information is private, and other people should not have access to it, nor should others gather information about a person in a secretive way. Number 8, The principle of lawfulness. Laws are often made to protect the rights of individuals, and we should follow these laws. We should not break the law privately for our own advantage. If we strongly disagree with the law, we might resort to public civil disobedience. Number 9, the principle of equal consideration of interests. We should make decisions and act in ways that treat the interests and well-being of other people as no less important than our own. We should be as fair and impartial in our dealings with others. And number 10, the final one, but certainly not the least, the principle of self-interest. We should take care of ourselves, but only to the extent that it does not treat the well-being of others as less important than our own. So that's the list of the 10 moral codes that we went off of for my ethics class. I'm sure there's more out there, but you can basically filter everything into these 10. And the way we did things in our class is we had like a case study, like a certain scenario, and we had to come up with different outcomes or solutions to these problems and back them up with these moral codes. So, for example, in Life is Strange, in one of the episodes, I think it might either be 1 or 2, I'm not 100% sure, but there's a situation where one of the other students, her name is Kate, is getting bullied by the security guard of the school. And you can step in and help her, or you can stand back and just watch it happen. Now, obviously, already you might be applying some of these moral codes, which one would favor which way. So obviously, the principle of self-interest would apply to you standing back, that way you don't put yourself in harm's way. But you could step in and help her for the principle of harm or something. I don't know which exactly one would step in. But basically the one that says, we want everybody to be fair and you shouldn't, leave them out to dry. Now for the 5th episode, that big moment of decision where you have to decide, and I don't know if we've talked about it at all because I'm not sure if we're going to spoil anything, but I kind of want to address the elephant in the room. So if you guys have not played Elephant, if you haven't played Elephant, what am I saying? If you haven't played Life is Strange and you plan on it, skip ahead a little bit because I'm going to talk about episode 5. So the big choice you have to make is to undo all the mistakes that you've made. Well, not really mistakes, but the changes that you've made to the world so you can stop the fabric of time from ripping apart and basically destroying the world or letting your best friend die. Now, it's pretty clear that in the principle of equal consideration of interests, where everybody should be treated the same, you have to weigh the world over yourself. But that conflicts with the interest, or the principle of self-interest, where you want to protect yourself or your friend. So what it comes down to is just applying these 10 rules to either side, and whichever has more, like one of them has 3 and one of them only has 2, then go with the one that has 3 because it seems like the best answer. So like I was saying, these things can be applied to everyday life and all the decisions that we make, and there's plenty of examples out there. One of the examples that really stuck with me from the class is a man is beat up and robbed or mugged, and he's laying in a ditch, and the guy gets away with his cash, and another guy walks by, sees him laying in the ditch, and then just keeps walking down the road. Who is the bad guy here? Is it the guy who mugged him, or is it the guy who just walked past? Depending on what you view as your philosophy, some would say that the guy that walked by had no blame on him, that there's nothing wrong with doing that, and some other ones would say that, yeah, he is just as bad as the guy that beat him up because he did not help, and he had the power to. And then beyond that, there's another one that says that he's worse because there is no reason why he should not have helped. It's not like, I don't know. So off of that little example that I just made about the mugger and the guy in the ditch, how do you guys feel about that? Should that guy have stopped? Should he have helped him? Who is the bad guy? Like, should the guy that walked past have any kind of remorse or feel any kind of blame, etc.? Let me know. This is a big kind of philosophy question. So I'm sure I can ramble on this subject a little bit more, but I don't want to ramble. I don't want to waste time. So I think I made my point, and posed a pretty good question for you guys. So I guess I could go on, but I think I've made my point and I don't really want to. That being said, I think that's going to do it for this video because I just wanted to keep it straight on this philosophy, life is strange topic. I will get to those other things that you guys have mentioned in previous videos. Jake, your Halloween video was amazing. If I was in that scenario with that haunted house, I think I would have cried. Like, you know that I can't handle scary. Like, that thing with the marble, I don't even know. I probably would have just, again, cried. Like, also, what you guys were saying about the intros, I like the idea. I think it's something we can talk about later and figure out collectively if we want to do that or not. I'm really liking that Halloween theme that you've got, Jake. So once again, that is all for today. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Peace.